Session this evening on July the 7th, 2020, and welcome all those who have joined us. We've got quite a crowd. We haven't seen this many people for a while, so we welcome you. We're grateful you're here, and I will note that we have Councilmember Lamone, Councilmember Bullock, Councilmember Anderson, Councilmember Williams, and Councilmember Jensen present this evening. So we're all here and present. We're glad to be here. Now, go to our first item here and turn the time over to
me.
Scott.
Thank you. Back in February, I think it was actually our annual retreat where the council said we'd love to hear from our various commissions and boards and have them give us an update. So by near the end of February, I had everybody scheduled in March and April to come and visit with you, and then we promptly canceled all those. So the Historic Commission is brave enough to come join us tonight, and we asked Laurel Cunningham, who's you're the chair, right, Laurel? Okay, Laurel's the chair. She's going to come give you an update. And then we do have a little gift for each of the members on the Historic Commission. So we'll let them just pick them out themselves as opposed to necessarily handing those out, but we just wanted to make sure we didn't forget that part of it. So we'll turn it over to Laurel.
Well, first of all, I want to say thank you for having us at your work session today. We're really excited to be here, and we just love talking about the commission. So thank you for wanting to hear from us. And we've got projects that we're really excited about, and a few we had to cancel because, COVID, and that's how it's going this year, but we're really excited. And I think we've had 3 of the 5 of you as our assigned persons, so we've gotten to know a lot of you, and so we're really grateful that you've been so connected with our commission and been so supportive, and we are just very, very grateful. We feel like the council's behind us, so that's a gift to us. Thank you very much. We've got a lot of our commission here today. There's 10 of us currently on the commission. We lost Jaylene this month. She moved, so we've lost Jaylene. She moved to what's that place in Michigan? Battle Creek, Michigan, with the job change. Yeah, so, but we do have, how many of us are here? We've got 5, I guess, 5 of our 10, so. We're always looking for people. If you know anyone who loves Pleasant Grove history, let us know. We can put anybody to work. I gave you a copy of our projects for this year in front of you. These are what we had a big brainstorming session in January and thought about all the things we wanted to do. And of course, it did change a bit, but we haven't canceled anything, we've just moved it. So we have 4 subcommittees, and our 4th subcommittee, Community Outreach and Education, that's the one that really took the hit with having the COVID this year. So we haven't canceled those. We would still love to hold those, but it might be next year. So nothing's canceled. Things are just kind of shuffled and moved. So the main thing we're doing right now is with our Preservation and Digitization and Archives subcommittees. Our main project right now is we applied for a grant with the State Historic Preservation Office called SHPO. They do a matching grant, and we're eligible every other year to obtain money from them for historic preservation in our city. And so we attained one last year, and that work completes at the end of next month. We were working with Dion and his team, and really grateful for all the work and support he's done with that project. What we've done to date is Dion's team created, if you remember the bathroom in that building, if you've been in there, it wasn't ADA compliant. So we've created an ADA compliant bathroom in there. So that means we can have city meetings. It opens that up for a lot of more usage than it was before. And because it's every other year, we're eligible this year to apply for another grant for that building. So we're hopefully going to start a phase 2 of that project and do even more restoration and renovation of that building, so it can be more of a community asset, because it's got a few things that needs done to it still. So that's our big thing right now. On the next subcommittee, our Digitization and Archives, our big project with that is taking all of our city materials, mostly a lot of research notes, pictures, documents that are currently in the basement of City Hall, and getting those stabilized as far as archival boxes and folders and treatment, and the end goal of having it digitized. Again, that'll be done with a grant, but we don't qualify for that grant until we go through the 4 proper steps. And step 1 is take an inventory of what's down there. And that has been a big job. We started doing that in October of last year, and we meet twice a month to inventory all that. And we were really cocky, thinking we'd have that done in 6 months. And no, it's been 9 months, and I'm not even sure if we're halfway. So that's we're putting a lot of man hours into that. And so I'm grateful we've got people on our commission who are willing to donate time, because that is a big project. But we're excited about that. That'll make our history accessible to the public, accessible to people who want to research or know more about Pleasant Grove history. Also in that subcommittee, this kind of pertains to a lot of people, though in our commission, we have plugged in with a lot of training opportunities. There's a lot of state organizations that offer free training to organizations like ours. So whenever we see a training event, we jump on it, and it's usually about 3 a year. We went to one in March. We were lucky to slip in before the whole shutdown happened, so we went to one sponsored by the State Historic Records, but we also go to whenever SHPO offers a course or whenever Preservation Utah offers a course. So we like to stay plugged in with best practices or what other commissions and other cities are doing, and getting ideas from other people, other museums, just so that we make sure that we're doing the most we can. So we really enjoy attending those, and don't know about this year if they will have them or not, but if they do, we always try to make sure we're trained and up to date on what we possibly can be doing as a commission. The third subcommittee is History and Publications, and what you've got in front of you, that little booklet I put around, I think it hit, I didn't know where you were all sitting, but there's a booklet. If you don't have it, find one. That's what we did in September. It went along with the downtown event we held, where we welcomed the public to come and just do a self-guided walking tour of the downtown area, with the goal of bringing people into downtown to support the merchants there, and also to get plugged in with the history of what is on that street. And it was a really great event. Brent Bullock attended it as one of our speakers in the old City Hall building that's on Main Street, and it was just a great opportunity. We wanted it to be once a year, but again, COVID may have changed that. But that's, that book you have in front of you is a model for another walking tour book that we just finished, that is now the Rose Garden, which is the area behind the Winter Corral and the Old Town Hall across the street from us. Same format, just a walking tour. We're going to roll that out with Heritage Festival this year. People can just take it and at their leisure walk around 8 different stops back there. There's the Rose Gardens, of course. There's the old depot signs back there. There's a ginkgo tree. There's a fire department memorial. There's so many things that I don't think people know about. So we're the goal is just to do kind of bite-sized history so that people understand and know and appreciate our history and know where to go. So I think sometimes our history is kind of hidden. You have to dig for it. So doing these kind of bite-sized walking tours is kind of a fun project. Another thing we've done with that subcommission is the 150th anniversary of women attaining the vote is 2020. So we researched a book about the Pleasant Grove suffragists, the women who lived here and were active in that movement. And I compiled a book with the help of the commission as well, that is available right now as a free download off our Facebook page, but we're also going to offer that in print at a future time. So we do have these little projects going with the History and Publications Subcommittee, trying to just capture our history and collect it. And if anyone wants to donate materials, if they've got pictures or documents or things that pertain to it, we're always happy to have donations or ideas for research. So that's a part of our mission statement as well. And then, like I said, I included the last subcommittee. I won't go through that because we're not actually holding those events this year, but it might be good to see what we have in mind as far as that subcommission goes, or subcommittee goes. So I just wonder if you had any questions for me. Is there anything you'd like to know about what our future plans are, or who we are, or anything like that?
Laurel, well, first, thank you to your committee. I mean, this is awesome.
That was fun to do.
I love just stuff like that we can just refer to and tell residents about. And you lived here for 4 years?
It'll
Or
be
5?
6 next month.
6,
Yeah.
okay.
I'm a short timer, yeah.
Well, I'm just impressed because I'll get questions from residents, and I started referring them to Laurel because of her knowledge of all the history. You've only lived here for 6 years, and you're so knowledgeable and have just dived into,
Thanks.
what we're all about in Pleasant Grove, and I really, really appreciate that. So thank you.
Well, it's a
You
fun
know as much
history.
as, someone who's lived here for 30 plus years. So, are you still using the app? Are you guys
Yes.
active with the app? Okay.
Yeah.
I just didn't know if that, and is there more information being added to it, and how can we use the app and help promote that?
That was something we used with our budget money 2 years ago, and so it was with Preservation Utah, and they actually, it was a one-time thing. They don't let us edit it, really, unless we pay again to do another app, and I'm not sure we're willing to do that. But-
Okay.
So we have the 20 stops that are on that free
Oh, okay.
app, which is a free download. If you ever go to Utah Heritage Walks, Pleasant Grove's in there, download that. It's really a neat thing. But yeah, unfortunately,
Okay.
they've locked us in at those 20 stops, and I didn't have any plans to redo it, but we could if
Okay.
there was a need or interest in that. But
Okay,
Yeah.
awesome, thank you.
Laurel. So I think we talked, sorry if I missed it, but I think we talked about the book, and there's a cost to it. So if we want to put that out to residents, I mean, probably just covering the cost of
Right, just the cost of
publishing it,
printing.
right?
Mhm.
So,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, we're going to, the downtown walking tour book you have in front of you, I'm going to take, we printed 150 copies, and I'll take those over to City Hall and let the public buy those just for the cost of printing, so they're available. Yeah, it was something that with COVID again, with City Hall being closed, I hadn't done, but now that it's open, I'll make that available to everyone.
Awesome. Thank you.
And the suffrage book's available for download, but I'll make that in print as well too, probably in the next couple of months, so that can also be purchased at City Hall. So.
But then these are also on the Facebook page, is that right?
That one's not.
Okay.
Just because it's kind of a different size, it's kind of a weird thing to download. It's a half sheet. So it's not currently, but
Okay.
we could do, yeah, I think the suffrage book is the only one that's the download right now. but
Okay.
We could move those
Okay,
over.
but that
if
might be a
there's interest.
possibility.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, definitely. We could do that quite easily.
What can we do to help you in your commission? Because you
Well-
guys are doing some really important work.
Yeah, and it feels sometimes like we've bitten off a lot, so it might be like a 3-year plan sometimes, but so far, I feel like we've had really great support just in the budgets we've been given and just being on board with all the events we've had. If you don't follow us on Facebook, that would be a great time. Go and just follow us so you know what our events are. When we have our historic home tours and we have events like that, it's just really great to have city council support from that as well. So, yeah, we've got ideas coming up, and we'll probably run those past you when we have those more solid. And we've really appreciated the help of Brent being on our commission and Sid last year too. So. We feel very supported, but we'll let you know if we have
Okay, please do.
anything's coming up. But
Especially digitizing everything, because, you
Yeah.
know, when we're gone, there's going to be people who,
that's
you
a
know,
big one.
need to know about our history. And so it's such important work that's never been
Yeah.
done that way. And so we need to get that.
We want to make
we
it
just
safe
appreciate
too.
that.
We don't want to have a flood take out our
Right.
history of all the papers and things that are paper-based. So, yeah, it's important to stabilize it as far as making sure that
Yeah.
it lasts for generations, not just paper in the basement. So,
Yeah, thank you so much.
well, thank you for letting us all serve. We're just happy that there's
Thank you.
value behind having a commission.
This is
so.
great.
I know,
It
it was
is.
fun. Jeannie Holdaway also.
Yeah.
the two of
Thank
us did
you.
that, so.
Have
Do you want to have your commission stand up really quick, Laurel? And come on up, ladies.
Oh, great. Jerry's going to kill himself.
5-minute, 10-minute speech from you.
This is Jerry Taylor. She's our vice chair. And this is Denise Trickler. And Hillary Sterling, she's our recorder. And Jeannie Holdaway, she's just super cool.
And then you said there's 10 members total, is that right? Okay.
We also have the scouts, Chris and Kristen Scout, and we have Emily Barney,
Karen
Karen.
Harbold.
As soon as I start naming names, I
Cousin.
forget.
Linda,
Linda Walker.
Linda Walker.
Oh. Yeah. Has everyone heard about, we moved Heritage Festival to be more online than it is in person. It'll be more through the Timpanogos Times and things like the walking tour for the Rose Garden and things that people can do on their own. So, does that cover it?
I just didn't know if you're doing the whole thing.
I was gonna say, if you know more, I don't know more.
Just like we were talking about different publications and just stuff,
Yeah.
challenges or quizzes and stuff.
Yeah. We'll know more. We're having a meeting later on the month, but we'll know more about Heritage Festival once we talk about all the more, like she was saying, scavenger hunts and histories and walking tours and things like that this year for Heritage Festival.
Okay.
So,
But same time, like same day and week in September?
yeah.
Okay.
The 14th,
Yeah, that's when the paper will come out.
Monday. Well, no, the paper will come out 2 weeks before so that we can have all the interactive things.
Done
going.
before then.
And we're at 170 years, is that right?
Yes.
Okay,
Wow.
it's a big one.
Oh. Thank you very much.
Thank you,
Appreciate
Laura.
all you do.
Appreciate you.
It's a great booklet.
This is the gifts that we have gotten for our commission members, so for historic commission and other members. It's a nice little mug, and there are some candy treats inside.
Ooh, even better.
So
This is so
and they
nice.
are over there in that box if you just want to grab one, and if you want to grab extras for
For the other 10.
the
Other
other
5.
here, that'd be great.
Thank you, that's so
Thank you.
nice.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Let's clap.
Well, we'll turn the time back over to our city administrator.
A few weeks back, I had a couple of council members that wanted us to review the downtown transition zone. that the city has. So we have a downtown village zone, which is where City Hall is and some of that area. And then when you extend those boundaries a little bit, there's what we call the transition zone that goes from our downtown village zone to our residential areas. That transition zone, something that was put together, I don't know, say 5 or 6 years ago. And what we're going to do is we'll review the boundaries of that and what the permitted uses are, conditional uses are in that area, so that if there's anything that the city council would like to change, that we can have the discussion now, and then we can run it through the normal process. So I'm going to turn it over to Daniel Cardenas. He's prepared the maps and things for you to take a look at.
Hello, everyone. Mayor, Council, after quite some time, it's a pleasure to see you guys again. I think Scott gave us a really good start of what we're looking at it right now. Give me 1 second. It always takes me a little bit to get my stuff ready, but it will be here in 1 second. There we go. Let's see. Perfect. That's my favorite map. That's the map of Blossom Grove City. I love that map. I live in that map. I see that map hundreds of times a day. I never get tired of it. If we take a look at this map, every single color means something different. Okay? Every single color has its own rules, its own regulations, its own exceptions. Every color has a meaning. But right now, we're going to focus on this area right here. I'm going to use my mouse, so in case there's the hundreds of people that are watching me online, including my mom, they can understand what's going on right here. So we're going to talk about this green area right here. The name of the zone is the Downtown Village Zone, okay? That's the name of the zone. And we have two sub-districts, the commercial sub-district and the transitional sub-district. All right, but now I'm going to zoom in, and just to make it easier for us, I'm going to eliminate some layers of this cake, and we end up only with the area or subject area, the area that we're going to talk about today. That's our downtown zone, okay? Again, it's called the Village Downtown, and we have two sub-districts. One is right here by this dark color. That's our commercial sub-district. And then we have this lighter aqua color. That's our transitional one, okay? Why the names? Well, this is the commercial sub-district because this is where we allow most of our intense commercial uses, right? And this is called the transitional because everything right here, okay, this is our single family dwelling zones, or what we call our R1s. Okay, this is an R18. So this is our single family ones. We have our commercial, and then we created kind of like a pillow, a buffer, something to cushion those heavy impacts of commercial uses versus single family ones. It wasn't me, I would like to take credit for this, but it wasn't me who created this transitional zone, but I think it's a great idea. In planning, it's something that we call incremental growth or incremental impact. Okay? For example, right here, again, you have single-family dwellings, one structure. Here we go a little more intense, and boom, here we go super intense. And by super intense, I don't mean the manufacturing, but I mean like commercial uses. That's what we have right now. Now, I created another map that is going to help us out because I would like to explain, well, first of all, any questions in regards to our boundaries of this zone. Let's not get confused with what happens right here, okay? This is a different zone. This area right here, by the way, this is commercial. So the boundaries for the downtown, they are as they are shown right now. Any questions in regards to the boundaries? No?
But at some point, are we going to be discussing the other east of Main Street?
Probably, yes, eventually, when we touch commercial zones, for sure we will there. But again, right now, we're only focusing on the downtown village, all right? Okay, so now that we see the differences and what the zone is, I'm gonna jump a little bit into residential uses. Like I say, each color has its own regulations, each color has its own rules. And I draw this map using really cool bright colors. I love those colors. So let's take a look at what's going on in our commercial sub-district, in the green one, okay? So in the green one, this is only in terms of residential uses. This is what we allowed in residential uses. We allow single family. There are actually a couple single families in that zone. We allow right now duplexes, okay? So if someone wants to come with a duplex, it's a permitted use in that zone, everywhere in the green area. And then we do allow for multifamily with the caveat that after a duplex, if you go for a triplex, then you will need to give us at least 1,000 square feet of commercial, okay? So that was kind of like a trade that we did when we were working on this zone. When we say, okay, permitted a duplex, but if you want to go with a triplex, that's still okay if you can fit it, but now you got to give us some retail, some commercial in it. You got to give us some office. That was kind of like our I don't know if I'm going to call it correctly, but the bait that we throw right there to get this zone a little more productive, active. That's how we wanted our downtown. Now, in regards to the residential, what we allowed in this buffer zone, pillow zone, cushion zone, we allow single-family dwellings. There's plenty of single-family dwellings in there. We allow duplexes. We also allow triplexes as long as the lot is at least 7,500 square feet. And we worked on this one a couple of years ago. For this property, we even allowed 10 units per acre, okay? So that's what it is allowed. Now, here's a question, and I'm pretty sure we asked this ourselves many times. In regards to commercial uses, are the same uses allowed in this zone here as well? The answer is no. Because again, this is our most active in regards to our downtown, or most active zone, and then we kind of decrease the uses right here to eventually do not allow uses, commercial uses, right here. Now let me show you a table in regards to the commercial uses that we allowed, okay? So here we go. This is the table that I created. So in regards to this table, the first uses right here, all of these uses, are residential uses, okay? So we're not gonna focus on those uses because that's the map that I just showed you guys. And this is how our table is. Let's see if we can interpret this table a little better, okay? All of our uses in our city, they always start, the first number is gonna tell us what type of use it is, what type of activity it is. If it's office, if it's retail, if it's manufacturing, if it's cultural, that's the first number is the key that is going to tell us what's going on. Now, look at this table. I'm going to go back to the top. This is how we read this table. For example, let's go with hotels, okay? Use 1511 hotels. Remember we have two sub-districts. Sorry, this is not like that. When I copy-pasted, it kind of got a little...
The first column is downtown commercial.
There we go.
Okay.
So when we go residential, sorry, where were we? Hotels.
1511.
Thank you so much. 1511 hotels. In the downtown commercial, in the dark green, it's a permitted use. In the downtown transitional, it's not allowed. Okay? So a P means permitted, a C means conditional, and these tiny little numbers, there's rules at the end that are called qualifying provisions, okay? Now, having said that, let's go take a look at some of the uses. As we can see, like I say, the green zone, the dark green zone, or the commercial is full of permitted uses, some conditional ones. And you guys can see in the transitional, it's pretty much empty, meaning that all these commercial uses are allowed or are permitted or conditional permitted in the zone, in the commercial, but not in the buffer zone. We decreased the intent of the uses. There are a couple of ones that we still allow. For example, travel agencies. They're permitted in the commercial, and they're also permitted in the transitional, right? Someone has a little travel agents right there, we will permit it. Now, we can go down and look at all those uses. Every single use that starts with a 5 is retail trade, okay? So all these retail uses are permitted or conditional, again, in this dark green zone, but not in the yellow one. Not in the yellow one. Let's go back to this. There we go. Okay? Now, are there some uses that are permitted in the transitional? Yes. For example, this one right here. Eating places. When we were creating this table, we decided that a little restaurant in the transitional will be permitted as long as no alcohol will be served in that place. So that's permitted right there. Okay? And again, if we can see there's some little uses right here. Now, all the uses start with 6 are pretty much our office uses. For example, an insurance business, real estate business, office only is permitted in the commercial, and it's also permitted in the transitional one. Okay? So when this was created, or when I was working on this, pretty much what I tried to design, what staff tried to design, was to said retail and heavy services are allowed in the commercial ones. Office uses are going to be allowed in the transitional one. We're still going to allow some commercial uses, but office mostly. And that's exactly what happens. As again, if we go down a little bit more, we start getting more uses right here that are permitted in the transitional. For example, detective services, locksmith and key shops, professional services. If Marty will live in that and he wants to have a firm engineer, hopefully he doesn't double dip, but if he does, he can have it right there. It's permitted as well.
Does he have time to double dip?
No. The first name that came to my head. A physician office, we will allow it as well. It's a permitted use. So again, we have all this, but again, all the uses that start with a number 6, most of them have to do with office uses. That's office services. Little school, an attorney office, dental office, things like that. All right, so that's the table that we have. Let me scroll down a little bit. And then we have some cultural uses as well that are permitted, such playgrounds, picnicking areas, and things
Bowling
like
alley
that.
is
So
permitted
that's
across the
the bulk of the information that I have prepared for you guys. At the end, it's very important that we keep this map in mind, okay?
Yeah.
That we know, okay, these are the these are the boundaries of the zone. What's allowed in here is not everything is allowed in here. Pretty much offices are.
Yeah.
But the rest, every number 5 that we saw there, or every use to start with a number 5, is not allowed in this zone at the moment.
Daniel, does that run with the street? So I'm looking at kind of the east boundary of the green.
Let's go
Or
back
is
to
that
it.
your backyard?
No, it doesn't run with the street. It's actually right there.
Okay.
As you can see, we tried to run as much as possible with property lines right here, but obviously we're going to have some properties like this one that it cut off a tiny little piece. So it doesn't run with the street. Okay? So that's what we have. Now, that's what I have. I'm ready for questions if you guys have any. Or recommendations or something. Just as a little side note, I was talking to my city planner, and we are working right now on kind of like making some amendments on this in regards to language, in regards to design standards and things like that. We're trying to make sure that it's all clean up and it's good. This zone and all the rules that we did right here, I worked on this about 4 years ago. That's when we kind of like consolidated. For example, in the past, we used to have allowed car shops, mechanic shops, and that's a use that we took away, right? That was just 4 years ago. And we had a couple of manufacturing, because this area right here used to be long ago in the manufacturing one. I mean, people who've been here in Pleasant Grove for quite some time will know that you can see these buildings right here. Actually, that building is kind of like a manufacturing type of building. So we took away a lot of those uses out already 4 years ago, and we end up with this table that we have at the moment. Okay.
Okay, so I asked for this to be on the agenda because I want to talk about it. I think there was a moment where the car shop on 3rd East was a moment where I thought, okay, we need to reevaluate these lines. I understand the zones and I understand permitted zones. I also understand the benefit and the science of having a buffer zone. But I would love to have the conversations of, and it's interesting that the Historic Commission is here because there's a beautiful home on 1st South and 2nd East, the Hart home. And everybody knows this is my hood. This is where I live. Eric also lives in the downtown zone. I don't want that old historic home to be a dental, medical, dentist, legal, engineer office. I don't know if this is a conversation where we can pull that buffer zone back, but I would love to have the integrity of the homes be able to, I don't know how to express this. I don't know if, I would love to keep the downtown. I understand Main Street. I understand that there is that downtown village. But I would love to talk about the transitional zone. So that's why I put it on the agenda. So,
Well, and Diana, what would you like in the transitional zone?
I'm okay with
Do you want
the,
to eliminate it, or do you want to change it, or what's your thought there?
I would love to, I'm okay with the housing. We have the triplex, the duplex, and the single family. I understand that that's just the nature of downtown, but I don't want those to be offices when the current owners move.
So I'll give my 2 cents too here, okay? I was, many moons ago, I was part of the Downtown Advisory Board. And I remember this came up also when I was on Planning Commission. We discussed this, and maybe it was that some had great aspirations of what Provo, right, looked like, their downtown, how it spread out, and if it was positive or not positive. I can't give you the exact reasons why. But for some reason, it was expanded. I don't want to hit Sid here. It was expanded out to 3rd East, I think, here, and then I think it came down to 2nd North here. I would like to see us discuss the uses again in here in the transitional, and maybe seeing this shrunk up a little bit for our downtown. Just some thoughts.
So the transitional zone shrunk.
Yeah, shrunk.
So that's kind of what you're saying, Diana, right?
Considerably. So,
Considerably and eliminated, or just considerably?
I don't know.
Shrinks on this boundary toward the center, or expand the commercial over here?
Sorry. So I would shrink the transitional to the west here, right? And then here, this one to the south.
And I would.
Bring it down.
Yeah, and I would even say on Main Street, you have the business district is in those blocks of where the fort was. And then you have right on the backside of the boundaries of that face 1st East. I would say that anything past that is still single-family home. So maybe maybe I'm thinking more to eliminate the transition.
For me, anything east of 100 East, I think should be purely residential.
Yeah.
I don't think it doesn't make sense to have commercial office, anything right there. Like, to me, that's a good dividing line where we keep everything commercial office in that space west where it already is happening right there. But there is a lot of historical homes, especially along 100 East and behind that area, that it just wouldn't make sense to start commercial going along 100 East on the east side.
I just, again, maybe 20, 30 years down the road that we've become this huge metropolitan city of Pleasant Grove, right? Then I guess they can take this back up and discuss about expanding out, right? But for Pleasant Grove, and like what Diana and Sid said, there's a lot of history sitting within that transitional, and I just don't like messing with it, so.
Well, if that's the case, I mean, we can just eliminate the transitional zone.
So I think, Daniel, can you, where the word pleasant is, Pleasant Grove? Can you zoom in on that?
Yes, and just let's keep in mind also that if we just eliminate, we're also eliminating duplexes and triplexes. Okay, all right.
And that's fine, because to me too, that area is single-family homes.
Okay,
That's-
so I was wrong. I thought maybe the transitional came into some of these homes that,
Wait, where's Maine? Okay.
this is center right here.
So when was the transitional zone
It was a while back.
done?
4 years ago,
No,
is that what we said?
no.
Before.
It was readjusted 4 years ago, but transitional zone was created about,
A long time ago.
yeah, a long time
I'd say
ago.
14 years ago.
About that, yeah,
Probably when they were doing RUDAP.
correct.
Correct.
That was
I'm
part
sorry,
of the
they're doing
road
what?
It was,
Was that part
no,
of it?
no, Tina?
It was the downtown 2020 vision. And
But
all
I
this
do know
stuff.
that we
It was
reviewed
created
it
long
while I
ago.
was on
I
planning commission.
More than 10 years ago, for sure.
But what also was happening was the freeway exchange was not moving. Like, that was not, we didn't have a commercial space downtown, down by the freeway. And so I do, when I was on planning commission, I do remember having the conversation of, renewing it like we were supposed to. But I think it is time to have the conversation of what is our, we are a residential bedroom community up next to the mountain, and we have our commercial space down by the freeway, and I'm okay with that.
I am too.
But even with the transitional zone, there's still this strip along 100 East, it looks like, that could be commercial frontage. Is that right, Daniel? Uh-huh.
So it already fronts, it's already part of that commercial, right?
See, and I'm even a little concerned about that, because we have the old Bell School, we have the Rose Garden area, we have the historical home on the corner. I'm just thinking like a good dividing line would be 100 East, and everything east of there is residential, single-family residential.
And then the boundary on the north is the backside of Center Street.
Well, but we, so,
Center
but
Street's-
we own, the city owns all this, right?
Except for
Yeah.
like a triplex or whatever is next to the old,
And then this right here is, there's the new,
There was a doctor's office at one time.
no, on that corner,
It's the Timpanogos.
yes, the little,
Gingerella's.
It's the chiropractor that's now
Right,
Ginger
right.
Ella's.
yeah, it's the little, yeah.
That's the problems.
Yeah, I'm okay with this current line. But what would we have to do to eliminate the transitional zone?
yeah.
But I would, okay, go ahead, Daniel.
That's okay. I think we can take different approaches. For example, we can just amend the uses, the commercial uses, and we can leave it as it is and just take the commercial uses, because again, remember that we have actually right now about 5 or 6 people that are applying at this point for duplexes or triplexes in that zone, right?
Well, and that's that's what instigated this about a year and a half ago, is that there were neighbors that came and spoke out because they were concerned that a triplex was coming in the area and was gonna create, like right in the middle of a residential zone, like a larger triplex.
But that was in the downtown zone.
But I think there was one over by where Diana's talking, it was that old red home, kind of, there was some land, I don't know, do you know what I'm talking, Diana? What's that home called?
The Hart Home.
The Hart Home. There was some empty land right there that they wanted to do a big triplex, and so the neighbors came and were concerned. So that's where I think some of this discussion started, is that we were trying to prevent those large complexes from going in.
Is that the Hart Home right there?
The Hart Home is, no, one block north of
So if
where
this
you're,
is City Hall,
You could go up just a little bit, Scott.
Right
it's
there.
up in here?
yes. And there's a lot of land right to the north of that
The
home.
north.
So because that's what I'm saying, we can take different approaches. We can just leave the boundaries as they are, and we can, I mean, so far I've counted 3 different approaches. One, we can leave the boundaries as they are and just take the commercial uses out. 2 will be completely to eliminate the buffer zone, the transitional one. Or 3, to adjust the boundaries as how they are. So I can do either or. All of them will take a code amendment, maybe a general plan amendment as well, but we can do that. I think this is tailored to what we want to do. I can get something done.
Daniel, will you explain that third option again?
Yeah, the third option will be to change the boundaries,
Lines.
the lines, like make them as, I think, Council Anderson mentioned, no, Commissioner Jansen, like move this line
Squeeze
right
that in.
here. Yes, squeeze it in. Squeeze it in.
But if the home in question that is of concerns right there,
Right, yeah,
then in some sense,
sure. I mean, we can adjust all of them, both boundaries, either that one and that one. We can rearrange them. We can take uses out. We can just eliminate.
So I think that's why, I think it's a great discussion to have. Let some people go at it and just discuss it. I mean, I'm in favor of either, right? Either shrinking it or really just either getting rid of it or limiting what can actually go on in the transitional, right? And so that's my 2 thoughts.
well, because if this was to go back to residential, we do have a commercial business there, I believe. And then
And
we
what
have
would you-
some
if
commercial
we-
businesses down here.
Not just
So
that, but
Scott,
we
to
have
that
I don't think
point,
you want to take that.
we have tons of triplexes in this area right here, lots and
Yeah,
a
so we'll
lot
have-
of duplexes, right?
At that point, we have a lot of
So
non-conforming
we're gonna have
use.
multiple.
Yeah.
Yeah,
yes.
We're gonna create multiple non-conforming uses with residential and with commercials as well. Because right now, we also have, I think we have a doctor's office, a dentist's office somewhere in there that will be legal non-conforming. It will stay legal, but it will be non-conforming, meaning that as long as they keep the use, it can be there, but once they stop for a year, then the use cannot be restored, so.
so for us, direction from you to us, as Daniel talked, there's 3 options. Would you like to see all 3 options, in essence, presented, so that you as a council can say, okay, this is the preferred route, and then we can go through the planning commission process back to you to actually do the code amendment? Or do you want us to go right into the planning commission with all 3 options and head that direction?
I'd love to give the planning commission some direction.
What is that direction?
I would prefer to see all 3 of them.
So we bring back the 3 to you. The council will say, this is the direction we want to head. You'll pick one of the options, and then we'll run it through the formal process.
Right,
Is that what you want?
yeah.
Okay. So Daniel, do you want to review those 3 options real quick, so we're all on the same page?
Yeah, for sure. Option number 1. I feel like in one of those shows at 8 p.m.
Door number 1.
Yeah, door number 1. Option number 1 will be to just play around, eliminate some uses, leave some as they are. Leave the boundaries as they are, just work on the different uses, see how it's going to look. Option number 2 will be to just completely eliminate the transitional one, and we'll see how that looks. And option number 3 will be to play along with the boundaries of both of them.
Okay,
And when I say play, I mean study them and consciously looking into them.
Sounds good.
Not a dartboard approach.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, council?
that's good.
Thank you, Mayor, Council.
All right.
Daniel.
Well, we still have about 10 minutes or more here to, more than that there, so, council, if it's all right with you, we'll do some staff, start with some staff business here. Marty usually is the longest-winded one here, so Marty, would you come up and,
If only he had some projects he could talk about.
yeah, he's,
I think we're going to hear from him a lot
he
tonight.
he Tell us how all these roads are going to be paved.
One item of good news, heard this morning that our new sweeper is in Salt Lake City. Couple other reviews, and it should be here, and
Hopefully Salt Lake City's not
Getting
using it.
used.
Yeah.
so it just barely came from Illinois, and we got a report that it's there, getting final inspections, and then it'll be sent down, and we'll be trained on how to use it.
Marty,
hopefully in
when
the next
it,
2 weeks.
when it shows up and we have a council meeting, could you park it right here?
We could, next council
I
meeting, we
would
could have
love,
it right
I
out there.
would love
We'll
that.
sweep the parking lot, and then we'll come and just let us sit there.
We could probably have some ride-alongs if you like.
I know
So-
exactly where to go.
Not on Third East.
No,
See, my
Or
items
First
last
South.
long because there's good items. They're just really fun to talk about, so. Now, there's a lot of things going on. So Battle Creek project, we just got passing of the last spring that we're planning to tie in. So the springs, I believe, will be tied in this week, and we'll be finishing up, cleaning up. Trails will be all put back together in the next couple of weeks, and we'll be out for sure by the end of July on finishing up the project that started last year, came back this spring and got that done. So Battle Creek Springs will be done. We're working on 1 meter that has been delayed due to the COVID virus that should be in. We're hoping this month, the middle of the month sometime. That was a long order item. Once they get that in, that project should be complete. Our filters are in and working and things of that nature, so that project's good. Our 1300 West project from Pleasant Grove Boulevard to First South starts on Monday. So there'll be some routing of traffic. We're trying to make
Say that again, on 1100 North?
1300 West from PG Boulevard to 100 South. Maybe I said that wrong. PG Boulevard to 100 South, that section of road will be widened to its full width and repaved. We've got the 700 South.
Sorry. From 1300 West, from
doTERRA.
PG Boulevard,
North
From doTERRA.
to 100
but
South.
that's blocked off now.
No. State Street South is blocked off
Okay.
now.
Is that going to be then, okay.
So, yes, so southbound traffic on, if you're coming down 13th West.
Yep.
You detour over to 1650 and then come around and get back.
Right.
You're going to detour around. Now, there'll be 2 lanes of traffic open on the work we're doing on the south end, so there won't be any,
Oh,
we're
I
not
see.
intending to have any road closures per se, but there will be 2 projects that are coinciding on that road. It'll be
Not
busy.
complaining. We got to get our roads fixed, but
We're
it's funny.
moving.
You know where I live.
Yes.
I work just on the other side of the freeway of R&R. There's 3 detours.
Do not go down 1100 North.
Don't go to 1100 North or 1300 West.
supposed to be
However,
working
that
at home.
project hopefully will be done, but
Work from
I'm all good.
home.
I'm all
Dude,
good,
Work
but-
from home.
that was
So,
the
all right, I just
street
want to make
in
sure that
American-
I got it in my head. So, all right, thank you.
That was a street in American Fork that I could drive down and say, hey, that's as bad as our other streets right here. So, but now they're going to fix that, which is great. So 1100 North should be done where our water line is completed in that road, and they're just finishing up. They will be doing some intermittent closures from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. is what I'm understanding American Fork's trying to do on that road so they can finish the grading and get it paved in the next couple of weeks. We've got our 150 North project that is, water line is done, services are done, just poured curb and gutter today. We'll be pouring concrete in the next week or so. And then we'll be working on the road reconstruction. And hopefully Donna Jolly is happy at that point with the road. It should be a brand new road at that point.
And water.
Is it torn up now?
Oh, yeah.
It's been torn up for the last month and a half or so.
Okay.
With the water line replacement and services and things of that.
And it'll be done when?
Hopefully, I'm guessing in about 2 or 3 weeks.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Number of other things going on. I'm kind of drawing a blank on everything else that we talked about in our staff meeting this morning, but we are busy and moving forward with a lot of other things, and things are going well. So if there's any other questions for me, I can answer any other.
Marty, are most
Storm-
of these, oh, sorry, go ahead, Mayor.
Storm drain on 600 West, went,
Oh, that started today. Thank you. Forgot
well,
that
that
one.
started
So-
today?
Started today, so they'll be getting that section done in about a week and a half, and then they'll be jumping over to 1000 South, getting that section done in about a couple weeks, and then they'll jump over to 800 North, and that'll take them about 4 weeks. So in the next 2 months, 2.5 months, all of the storm drain projects will be tied up and put to sleep as well. So I'm good.
Mayor took most by right there, so, but are these out on the website that residents can look and see?
Yes, yes, I think we've got all of the projects moving When they start, we make sure that they get an update of where they are, what they're doing, and the status updates are coming generally after our progress meetings, which are random days throughout the week. So.
And you said on the city website as well, it's updated?
Yeah, so if you go to the city website, I think it takes you to our construction page.
Okay.
And that's where it comes. We actually made a few changes there, so you might want to look at it with Nathan Gerber a couple weeks ago, because it was really confusing how it was doing it. But we clarified the difference between a road project and waterline project and a few other things, I think, on that. So
Okay.
I think it should be clear exactly what they need to do to select on the projects.
Where are we at with the county project with widening 100 East right here?
We are in the same place we were at the beginning of the summer, which is waiting for the county to respond as to when they want to get that project moving. So they have not, I met with them, I talked with them right around March or April, well, right before COVID started, so maybe that was end of February, intending to get going. And I think all the other projects that they're moving on, plus the COVID thing, has probably put them and delayed them on getting moving on that project. So I haven't got an update as to when that would happen. I did email both Glenn and Richard it was about 2 weeks ago, I think it was before I went on vacation, so 2 or 3 weeks ago, and have not heard back again. So I'll be in a meeting with them, I think, on Monday, so
Okay.
I'll follow up on that
Okay, thank you.
next Monday. So.
Anything else? That's
Great.
Marty?
No, that's
Thanks,
great.
Marty.
Thanks, Marty.
Okay.
That's real good. Daniel, we should have had you stay up here for, once you come forward here so you can update us on anything you know what's going on. It was a great occasion for the iceberg. The doors were opened. So how are you coming with the permit process for Chick-fil-A? That's my next question for you there. So we'll start working on that now.
You're going to start rumors, Mayor.
Yep.
Let's start it. Let's put it out there.
After a taqueria comes into town, after a taco shop comes into
Yes.
Sure. Yeah, do it.
I know
Approved.
exactly where it
180
needs to
tacos.
go.
A real taco shop.
A real one.
Oh, let me see, how do I say this? Well, the COVID I think the COVID affected a little bit on the office buildings that that we were working on it. Not completely eliminated, but that kind of slowed down a little bit. They're still going through the process of it. We're still going through the review.
Commercial offices.
Yes, commercial office, correct. But other than that, I mean, we still have the same projects. We're working on them. Hopefully, we get more. Like I mentioned the last time before, the building permits, the bulk of the building permits did not slow down because we actually got more residential ones. Just we haven't gotten many new commercials on it. But yeah, we're busy. We're there. We're open for business.
Is the rap sheet pretty update if we put that
I
out
think
there?
we updated it 3 weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, something like
Okay.
that. Is due for an update pretty soon. We're trying to update it twice a month. That's what we're trying to do.
Okay. Carol sent out a new business report this afternoon.
Yeah.
You know, we appreciate those.
Okay.
So that's great.
Okay.
Thanks, Daniel.
Great to see, businesses come in town. We're seeing more and more, and the lines at every drive-through is 10 cars deep, nearly 10, 12 hours a day.
Okay.
So
It's great.
tell the distributors, or not distributors, that's another word. Tell the developers.
No, for sure.
That we need them in here.
I've been following the directions that we've gotten from you, that staff has received from the city council. We usually have people come and ask for different uses that are not allowed in the zone. And I've been following the direction that I've been getting from you. We have a vision and expectation of what happens in the Grove, and we've just been faithfully waiting for those to happen. So that's what we have.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, thank you, Dan. Chief Roberts, do you want to come up and tell us how your department's doing?
Wow, what a week.
Mayor and Council, the department is doing well. We had a great weekend. The 4th of July weekend went very well. It was very busy. A lot of firework complaints, a lot of neighborhood disputes. Turns out neighbors don't like their neighbors doing fireworks, but it's okay for them to do them, so.
Only until 2 a.m.
Yeah, so it went really well. Guys had a lot of fun. We're hoping the 24th goes as well. Had our second dog bite actually on the 4th. Had a male individual that was involved in a burglary and an assault. Fled on foot. They released Django. He was able to apprehend him and hold him down until our guys could safely get him into custody. And so Django's earning his keep. Chris is working hard. It's a good option for us to have. So we're taking a lot of door-to-door salesman complaints, and we're trying to be as politically correct as we can with that, and doing the best we can to try to talk them into coming down and following the proper procedures and doing what they need to do take care of that. So otherwise, just business as usual. A lot of complaints, a lot of zoning stuff. We're trying to jump on that as much as we can. We're really busy, but we're trying to do what we can on that stuff. So
When is the official move over for community development to take on code enforcement, so we can free
We're
that up
still in
from
the
you guys?
process of hiring that position, but
Is it open though, the position?
Have we posted it?
yeah, it's posted.
Okay, so it is posted, and when does
Yeah.
that close?
Couple weeks.
Have we had any applicants?
Okay.
No, we want to move that along as quickly as possible. We know, I was looking back through my retreat
Hold up
notes,
on the
and that
one
was
that's
the
being
number
taken
one
care of,
issue,
so.
so.
Want to help relieve you guys that way, so.
Yeah, the police are still covering a couple. Those that are a little less urgent, we're just creating a list for our new person. And really trying to unburden the police department and let them do their thing and get this transition. So we're still in that process.
How many guys down are you right now?
right now we're one guy down, so we're
Okay.
in the process of taking applications still. And
I should guess we should say men and women down,
yeah,
officers.
we're officers
Yeah.
down. Yes. So
And with the protests that are happening in Salt Lake and Provo and Payson, I don't know if that one happened.
it did happen.
It did happen?
It did happen.
Are we run support with that?
Yeah,
or-
every department in the county is sending, they have a team of guys, so we have assigned officers from each department, depending on how big you are. That's been going once a week to training, and it does like riot training. They call it field force training.
Okay.
So every department sends guys down to that, and then of course we have the SWAT team and stuff. And after the shooting in Provo, before the shooting in Provo, it was kind of like the ghost approach where they kind of just let the rioters, not the protesters, I should say, do their thing, and there really wasn't a law enforcement presence. They were there, but their presence wasn't known.
Got it.
And then after the shooting, they've taken a totally different approach. So the presence is there, and so it's kind of really changed the dynamics of how the protesters are taking it, which I think is a good thing.
I agree.
So it was kind of a different, Provo kind of had one way to do things, and there was kind of a butting of heads, so to speak, between law enforcement officials of how you should take that approach. And now it's all kind of, the ghost method has been taken out of the picture, and it's law enforcement presence now.
And then if we hear that there is going to be some protests.
There's a
in
team
town-
called SIAC, which is following like Facebook, Twitter, everything like that. So they're usually really good to at least 24 to 48 hours before to hear about something coming up, and then they'll notify us. And
Okay.
so we've been pretty good. Honestly, I thought we would fall victim to it because of Follow the Flag, because of the amount of publicity it gets, and we've been really lucky. So
I agree. I do understand that we were prepared for that, though.
yeah,
so.
yes. So
Is there a way we can, Kyler or Scott, speed up the process and just do that for 2 weeks for the code enforcement officers? We can try and get that done more quickly.
We
Not
can.
if- not if we don't have
If
any
we have enough
applicants.
applicants, then yes.
Are we putting that out? I mean, has Lisa put it out on Facebook and just advertise
Probably not
that?
just yet, but, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, if we can shorten that to 2 weeks, maybe that would help. Let's just kind of speed that up.
Chief, thank you.
Thank
Thank
you,
you,
guys.
people.
Appreciate it.
We appreciate everything you do for us. Keeping us safe. Thank you.
Yes.
With that, I'd like to ask for a motion to adjourn for our break before our council meeting. Do I have a
So
motion?
moved, so moved.
And seconded.
Have a motion, a second. All in